you've been dragging your feet, telling me I'm the reason we're stagnant. 30 years you've been claiming you're honest and promising progress. Well, where is it at? I don't want you to feel like a failure. I know this hurts, but I gave you your chance to deliver. Now it's my turn. Don't get me wrong, nature had a great run, but it's time to give the people something different. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my album. Hope. What's my definition of success? Listening to what your heart says, standing up for what you know is right while everybody else is tucking their toe between their legs. What's my definition of success? Creating something no one else can. Being brave enough to dream big. Grinding when you're told to just quit. Giving more when you got nothing left. It's a person that'll take a chance on something they were told could never happen. It's a person that can see the bright side through the dark times when there ain't one. It's when someone who ain't never had nothing ain't afraid to walk away from more profit, cause they rather do something that they really love and take the pay cut. It's a person that would never waver or change who they are just to try and gain some credibility so they can feel accepted by a stranger. It's a person that can take the failures in their life and turn them into motivation. It's believing in yourself when no one else does. It's amazing what a little bit of faith can do. If you don't even believe in you, why would you think or expect anybody else that's around you to? I done did things that I regret. I done said things I can't take back. Was a lost soul at a crossroad who had no hope, but I changed that. I spent years of my life holding on to things I never should have kept, full of hatred. Years of my life carrying a lot of baggage that I should have walked away from. Years of my life wishing I was someone different, looking for some validation. Years of my life trying to fill a void, pretending I was in them. They get it.
I've got that lightning inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising, oh, just you watch. I'm stepping into fate, there is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me, this is how legends are made.
All right, y'all. Let me cut that out there. And this is our new group, second week. I think who we got here today? We got Jason, Jade, and a couple other ones. So just us four right now. We'll see who jumps in. But this is exciting. It's our second group. Me and Angel have worked really a lot on this. We want to make it something that's special. We probably are overthinking it, right now, which is good because it's better to overthink than to underthink, right? And we want to make something that's going to be what we can build off of with further groups. So we'll see if we get any other people, or if you guys want to, we can jump on after this group and do a little music group. If you want to play some music, get to know each other better, discuss some songs. That's the idea of the music group. And I'll kind of give you our intro slide here. It says life doesn't always give us what we want. It gives us what we need. Every time we experience a detour, delay, or redirection, it shapes something within us. I have to remind myself often to pause, trust the process, and open my mind to what I need to learn. Growth hides behind all those moments we never asked for, but we can be thankful for later. And that brings us to our thought of the week. Last week was progression. This week is regression. So essentially the idea of this is the flip side of progression. In this idea, regression can be a negative, obviously, thinking about somebody regressing to a previous state. But in this, we're regressing to rebuild. So it's the rebuilding process. And This is the daily journal. This is a thing I'm doing 5 days a week. I'm trying to keep myself accountable by doing this, throwing up a question every day, doing a little artwork, just put myself in the recovery frame of mind, I guess I would say. Got the idea of the week and the question of the day.
What are people gonna think? That I'm crazy? I'm weird? Am I even gonna be able to accomplish? I don't listen to the voices in my head. I got dreams so big, I be making that bread. I ain't trying to live my life for stress. I let the universe guide me, put it to the test. I came a long way, baby. People see me now, still saying I'm crazy. 20 million, baby, whatever it takes, just know I don't hold back. I'ma give it everything I got.
And that is our intro for Angel. And Angel, take it away. That's what we got.
I love Abel Hart. He's awesome. He's always doing like positive like songs and he'll he does a lot of like law of attraction stuff too, but it's always like positive affirmations and stuff. But like it definitely like goes into what this week we were talking about, like measuring up, being good enough, and kind of playing off of last week where we're about the imposter syndrome and perfectionism. Like how can you tell like when you're good enough and are you measuring up to a certain standard? Like we may have decided to say like use perfectionism to help measure up to being good enough, for experiences with like, as in childhood, growing up teenagers, maybe in relationships, work, you know. So like have we ever felt unworthy or afraid of rejection? We choose to strive towards perfection to deem we're good enough, or we keep rejecting or judging ourselves so that way no one else can hurt us because you know we're our toughest critics. I've realized that we need to release those old programmings and really realize that those are just a belief. you know um Sorry. Those are just like beliefs that we put on ourselves from all those other people. Once we are able to like truly come into ourselves and going within, it goes into I forgot the
Regression.
regression. Thank you. We're going within to rebuild the house. We got to kick out all that old programming and realizing that we are good enough just as we are. When a baby was born, are we going to say they're not worthy? No, they're worthy just from being born. When we get a puppy, does he have to, study to be a good boy? No, he just automatically is a good boy as he is. And, we really need to realize that within ourselves we're already good enough as we are. We don't need to put on do the imposter syndrome or perfectionism and just be true to ourselves. And
Yeah, I
then
think that was one thing about this was like trying to get this going. It was like we both, because me and Angel have kind of headed this up a little bit for everybody, because everybody's got stuff going on, and we have a little time right now. Me more than Angel for sure. So, but she's stepping up and just, but going into this was like, should we do this? Are we like, what is this? Are we good enough for this? Are we whatever? And it's not, all this is truly these peer groups. Now, not the certified part of it, but the peer groups and just the getting together and discussing the questions is really what has helped me. So when we went through that whole imposter syndrome and not measuring up and worried about being perfectionists, it was all kind of like that inside problem. It was from a deeper place, and if we didn't do it, then we're not progressing in our life. We're not taking chances. We're not trying to make any difference. So that's this measuring up idea is great. And Angel, you're doing good with this. This is
the whole measuring up and comparing and contrasting everything is like super hard. I think it's very human nature and it's like put into our programming. Not a fun thing until we can like release that and break out. Uh, Here's a question. Where in life do you still find yourself trying to measure up? And what would it look like just to be enough as you are today? And now we can open up our discussion. Would anybody like to go? You can comment on any of the things like the question, what I talked about, anything Daniel said, his journal quotes?
Well, I was
Okay.
going to say what it would look like to be just enough is like, that is so subjective. And it comes down to what we're really talking about. Is that being enough or measuring up? That's an inside thing that we got to work on. So it's like, the progression part of it is moving forward, toward challenging obstacles and goals, whereas the regression is more of like the inside challenging obstacles and goals. It's like trying to get back into the structural part of who we are, and kind of rebuild that way. When we are progressing, it's not just something we're doing on the outside. It's literally our whole mind, body, and spirit is progressing versus just kind of one way progressing in stuff or whatever. We need to be progressing in our mind and in our heart. And I only say that with any authority because it's the only place I find anything. So that's the only thing I could say. It's like, that's the only, like, whenever the questions come up of how am I enough, it's like, well, I gotta work on myself to be enough, and I'm getting there. I'm trying, and it's like a battle, and that's why this stuff's important. We don't want to lose it. So I've been, working on my recovery, just like as a lifeline, really, and as an example to my daughter. She's watching me, and she's watched me waste 10 years of my life. um, and it's just like she needs to see an example, and the only way I can do that is by working on that inside stuff. Realizing it's not measuring up or being enough on what other people say. It's based on just you alone. And I think if we realize that, life would be a lot better, wouldn't it?
Agreed.
So, there's a mystic guy, like a guru type guy called Osho. I think he's also called like Sadhguru or something like that, but he wrote a whole bunch of, I think, very insightful stuff. And one of the things he wrote was that you will never grow from where you are until you are able to fully embody where you are. Meaning, like, his example was if you're childish, then be childish, because if you put on a pretense or a mask of not being childish, you're never going to mature, because you can't grow into something you're already pretending to be, if that makes sense. So I wrote about that, this. Self-improvement can only occur inside the self, for oneself, at the sole discretion and direction of oneself. Any improvement that is catalyzed by external social influence intentionally isn't self-improvement, it's self-distortion. No other human knows the internal landscape of a person better than that person themselves, unless that individual has already allowed external pressure to contort their psyche into coveting attributes that do not naturally blossom within itself. This envy causes insecurity and an impression of inadequacy as the mind longs for something that was never meant to embody and it is not capable of becoming, seeding a sense of being inherently deficient. This is one of the most toxic poisons to the well-being of the psyche, as the mind, in an attempt to relieve the cognitive dissonance created by the gap between should be and am, must begin to engage in self-deception, a denial of the reality of its attributes, both strengths and flaws, in favor of a false ideal imposed on it by external expectation and socially acceptable standards. The likelihood of achieving conformity to the false ideal being alien to the consciousness in question is unlikely and unrealistic. Maintaining such an unnatural state of being would be nearly impossible to successfully pull off with any cohesion or congruence. Believing failure to measure up to believing failure to measure up to the impossible, unrealistic, and unnatural standards signifies some inherent defect or flaw would inflict a great deal of psychic pain in the form of shame, feelings of worthlessness, defectiveness, and insecurity. Many psyches, too fragile to withstand the onslaught of emotional self-torture and depredation, resort to self-deception as a necessary defense. Denial of the disparity between the actual self and idealized self, and denial that the ideal self is not the original self, that the original self is incapable of being the ideal, insulates the conscious mind from the pain of failure and the shame of inability to meet their expectation. The true self becomes a thing of shame to be hidden and denied at all costs, rendering authenticity, vulnerability, sincere self-disclosure, and self-expression, and by proxy, intimacy and genuine unconditional love completely impossible to achieve. In extreme cases, this can create a negative feedback loop in which the psyche begins to associate authentic expression with shame and fear, while insecurity is linked to social acceptance and pride, reinforcing insecurity and inauthentic behavior.
Have you ever heard of Carl Jung before?
Oh, yeah, he's my favorite. Have you read the Red Book? That's my favorite one.
No, I haven't. I'll have to check that one out.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty crazy shit. It definitely makes it a lot more clear why Jung was able to understand his patients so well, because he was a little on the crazy scale himself.
The best people are.
That's what I think. I don't think that any normal person can make it through this world sane.
I agree with that. What about you, Jason? What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, Jade, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That was, yeah, that was great. And my response is not going to be nearly that insightful or detailed, but just looking at thinking of the question of, where in life do you still find yourself trying to measure up? I struggle with comparison, but it's trying to change that perspective. I'm working with, with kids that need jobs. So it's, providing, I don't know, as long as I'm providing for my girls, which I am. I have a house, get, cars, everything's paid off. I have a college fund for my kids. I'm setting myself up financially to take care of them. But yeah, so that's where I am on the whole, measuring up. I sometimes get caught in that loop where I'm looking at the superficial bullshit that like society might think is success, but I need to realize that there's other measures. What I'm doing is just as valuable as making all kinds of money and being a CEO.
I think that success is self-defined, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, what measures your success is what your personal goals are and how much work you've done towards achieving those. So if your goal is to make a difference in people's lives, which is a great goal to have, then by that metric, you're probably a lot more successful.
And that's what I'm getting. Like, I compare myself. Like, do I measure up? But really, you're right. I do, because I'm doing what I find to be meaningful and successful, and I just need to get out of my own fucking way sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, stop thinking about that shit, because I'm doing something cool that I love. I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
that's
there
awesome.
you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sorry about my language, by the way. I apologize.
Welcome, Angie. And affirmations. You can tell yourself, I now release the old belief that I have to prove my worth to be loved, accepted, or safe. I let go of the need to compare, perform, or measure up to anyone's expectations, including my own. Those patterns are not mine anymore. They serve their purpose, and I am lovingly setting them free. And here's some affirmations. I am already enough, exactly as I am in this moment. My value is not measured by what I do, but by who I am. I am learning, growing, and becoming softer with myself. Every breath I take reminds me that I am worthy of peace, rest, love without conditions.
Amen to that.
Yes.
For sure.
Angie, you want to end us up on this segment? We kind of segment this up a little bit. We'll have just like a little 4-minute song break.
Okay.
But Angie, you want to end us up on the measuring up and being enough?
I can, and I can speak on this 100% because I love myself now, and I love myself enough to know that I am taking my own path, and my path isn't like anybody else's, and their path is not like mine, and I have to measure up to myself and know, and that also means hold myself accountable for things that I want to do is my prerogative. You know what I'm saying? But that's where I hold myself accountable for that. As far as anybody else, I could really give to whatever's if they like, you know, what I do or where I'm at and who I am. And honestly, because I just try to, you know, try to help, like Angel said, try to help people. And it's not, I don't have, it's judgment free, don't care, don't, you know, I mean, everybody has beliefs, and I just want to, I want to be the best me to my standards. That means so I can be disappointed with myself, but I could give a shit less if somebody else is disappointed in me, because I know you know, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, I don't know. I just try to do the best, be the best, and that means within myself. And if I don't add up, then that means I self-reflect and see what I need to do, where I can change, what I can do to, you know, release that off of myself.
All right, we'll go ahead and we'll do a little 4 minute break and then come back. We're calling the next segment kind of like a little motivation, just a little thing, and then hopefully maybe provoke. Let's see, we got provoke a little more discussion, and then we'll end this thing up. And if we want to do music group this week, we can. And if we just want to hang out and talk, it's up to you guys. Or if you got to go, it don't matter. It does not matter to me. I'm here. So anyhow, we'll go ahead and take this little break though.
I'm alright with what's wrong with me. No, I ain't found the light. At least now I see that I'm alright with what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Trust me, I don't know the first bit about being flawless and perfect. If only you knew all the worthless I fought. Covered my arms up with cursive to cover the thoughts I was cursed with. Guess I just hated the person I saw. That mirror was no friend to me, was my own worst enemy. Till I found a way to move on and sing a new song. It took a real long time for me to see, but I'm alright with what's wrong with me. No, I ain't found the light. At least now I see that I'm alright with what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? What's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? Found out I fit in with the misfits, and I feel the same as the different. Just had to learn how to live with myself. Finally making some peace with all of my jagged edge pieces. I booked a ticket, I'm leaving this hell. That mirror was no friend to me, was my own worst enemy. Till I found a way to move on and sing a new song. It took a real long time for me to see, but I'm alright with what's wrong with me. No, I ain't found the light. At least now I see that I'm alright with what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? What's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? What's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? It's time.
for a change. I'm tired of this weight that's breaking my soul. Oh, living in a world that's out of control. The hate, the lies, the shame, all of this I face. Can't keep living this way.
So this is our next segment. The way that I would hope that this kind of will progress, throwback, is to maybe have like some interview portions where we kind of get to know members of our group. So essentially, like we would get together with somebody, just do a little prep interview, and then do either a recorded small interview or like even something live kind of interview, uh, and work with some kind of idea like that. Because I think something that I think would be cool is kind of teach people how to tell their recovery story in the most effective way. And I think the best way that we can do that is literally just by telling it. And sometimes we don't really have the way to do that, and we don't have the way to really learn how to tell it concisely in a real effective way. And if we can all learn that, I think we're going to bring people into recovery. And I mean, that's going to be the gold at the end of
Well, yeah.
the rainbow, right? You know, it's really about doing whatever is the most good for what people want. You know, we have our ideas of what we want out of our. We want to build connection and friendships, and hopefully progress in recovery, and it's kind of like if we don't do something. I've talked a lot to Angel about this, like in Jason, and I haven't gotten to talk to Angie as much, but it's this 25 to 35 age demographic that's just like gone at the recovery meetings. And I've always like, thought about the younger ones, and the ones younger than me kind of coming up and wanting to kind of do something to help and to at least be some type of example. And that's what this can be. And I know I keep beating this, and it's only second group, but we all have talked a lot about this. But I hope we can really stay connected and build it.
Leave a
But
legacy.
we got people reaching out. We got people that want to do this. So I think we open it up, like we said, and see where it goes. With that, I just want to the regression idea that we use this, it's a flip side idea. Okay. So in your mind, when you're thinking of certain things, a good way to help remember in our minds is to flip things. So with the progression, what is the other side of progression? Well, it would be regression. Well, that's a negative. It's got a negative connotation. So let's also flip that negative connotation. And then it helps build this structure, this scheme in our mind that we will automatically go back to, when we need it. Kind of like how when they train in special forces or in any of the things, they train and they drill things over and over and over and over. Some of these ideas of recovery, we have to kind of do that same thing, kind of get it in our mind. That way it's building itself into our subconscious. And that's where it comes back to building that kind of a new scheme of how we're going to approach life. And that's something that happens, subconsciously. Also, the idea of this regression is regressing to the inside to build back to something. So it's like when you're building a house or working on a house, you're not just going to go in and just fix all the stuff you can see and make it beautiful and leave everything else to shit. Because if you do that, what's going to happen, that beautiful house is going to fall apart. So it doesn't make any difference how beautiful we make this recovery look on the outside if we're not doing what it takes to rework the inner work, rework the things that we know that led us to our addiction and the pain and the whatever that led us to it. Then we're not doing what we need to for ourselves. And that's why Angie sent me that quote this week, and it's like holding on to our past is what is causing us to regress in the negative way back to our addiction and our, you know, our suffering. So it's important that we remember that. But I think it goes back with this is the key to this is the essentially a search inside ourselves for to heal, essentially a search to heal, because you know everything that we need to really get everything out of life is totally inside of us. It is not outside in any way. That's why that inner work is extremely important, and connecting to that inside person, that whatever's greater, your soul, your heart, your whatever you believe, connecting to whatever that is, and maybe not call it spirituality, but call it just a search, you know, a search for purpose, a search for meaning, a search for, you know, doing something more than just what we see in the day to day, every day from people around us. Because that's what's killing our spirit. And I think that's what's leading to our addiction is that we're killing our spirit by not looking inside, and we're taught not to. You know, the whole world teaches us, you know, it's all about your progression in life, you know, the stuff you have, the job you have, the power you have, the connections you have. It's and at the end of the day, that shit means nothing if we on the inside are just destroyed. What's greater, what's deeper inside of us. So that's just essentially the little portion that eventually we'll hopefully do little interviews just to get us thinking maybe a little bit deeper.
Is it because our own journeys are our own? But that's why we can't, like, I know I can't, like, I look inside myself for my strengths and it's people like you guys and everybody that helps give me that strength. And no matter what our backgrounds are, it's like it's the love. It's the love that you feel and that you share, you know, that I love, you know, that is just, but that's what it comes to within ourselves.
As much as we want. I just wanted to, the first week was imposter syndrome. This week is measuring up, being enough, you know, that search on the inside, fixing ourselves. Then next week will be built around authenticity and acceptance of others. And that's a big part of recovery. And I will just share this one. Another good one. A winner is just a loser who tried again. And that's what this is about.
Love it.
This is what we're doing, peer support. This isn't certified in any way, shape, or form. We just start building a friendship here. That phone number is a specific line for this. You know, hopefully that give us a way to connect people back to this and at least get these Zoom links out. So if you want to share it, you can. If you need it, I can send it to you. Other than that, it's basically our group.